From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, October the 19th, 2023. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak arrived in Israel today in a show of solidarity after the October 7th Hamas massacre, and met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, sharing the deepest condolences on behalf of the British people and sharing support.
We absolutely support Israel's right to defend itself in line with international law, to go after Hamas, to take back hostages, deter further incursions, and to strengthen your security for the long term. You describe this as Israel's darkest hour. Well, then it's for me to say I'm proud to stand here with you in Israel's darkest hour. As your friend, we will stand with you in solidarity, we will stand with your people, and we also want you to win.
Sunak also met with Israel's President Isaac Herzog, who called him a true friend of Israel, thanking the Prime Minister. Herzog said it is time to express a clear moral voice. This is a battle for the values of all humanity. The world needs to understand that if we do not prevent Hamas and other terrorist organizations from carrying out murderous and criminal attacks, they will not stop with Israel. New York Governor Kathy Hochul also arrived in Israel today in a show of solidarity, meeting with Herzog and with Netanyahu, saying we discussed the urgent need to bring everyone home safely, as 203 hostages, including New Yorkers, she said, remain Hamas's captives. The governor also visited the injured from the Hamas atrocities and visited the Kotel in Jerusalem's Old City, saying, as I stood at the Western Wall today, I prayed for the victims of Hamas's horrific attacks, their families, and all the innocent civilians lost as a result. I believe the arc of the universe bends towards justice, she said. We pray for a peaceful future. President of the World Jewish Congress, Ronald Lauder, held an audience with the Pope today at the Vatican, saying he appealed to the leader of the Catholic Church to use his moral authority to urge for the return of Israeli hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. Writing, the pontiff called for their immediate and safe release. The Times of Israel cited IDF spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, saying that the IDF has so far notified the families of 203 hostages that their loved ones are being held in Gaza. Meanwhile, rocket barrages continued at southern and central Israel from Gaza today and from Lebanon at northern Israel. At times, the barrages happening simultaneously, with Hamas also claiming responsibility for some of the rockets from the northern border. Magen David Adom paramedics said they treated 3 wounded civilians in the area of Kiryat Shmona in Israel's north, one with moderate wounds, 2 lightly injured, including a 5-year-old. The IDF, meanwhile, continues its airstrikes on Gaza, saying it destroyed hundreds of Hamas terrorist infrastructures, including anti-tank missile launch sites, tunnel shafts, intelligence infrastructures, operational headquarters, and other headquarters, and apparently overnight took out several senior Hamas officials. Israeli troops came under fire in the West Bank today during a counter-terrorism operation in the Nur al-Shams Palestinian refugee camp, saying the forces are working to arrest wanted persons, thwart terrorist infrastructures, and confiscate weapons. The IDF said an IDF aircraft located and attacked an armed terrorist squad that endangered our forces in the area. Several terrorists were killed as a result. Some 10 wanted Palestinian suspects were arrested. The Times of Israel reports that 10 Israeli border police officers were hurt in the operation, one of them in serious condition. Meanwhile, outside of Israel, reports of attacks on synagogues said to be connected to the situation. 2 Molotov cocktails were thrown at a Berlin synagogue yesterday, and a historic synagogue in Tunisia was set on fire and ransacked Tuesday night after reports about the Gaza hospital bombing, which was blamed on Israel, though later shown to have been caused by a misfired rocket from Palestinian Islamic Jihad in Gaza. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, October the 19th. At 7, former Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Danny Ayalon, shares updates and insights on the situation in Israel with Micah Halpern. Followed by Our Middle East with Dan Diker and David Wurmser discussing the importance for Israel to have a decisive victory against Hamas. At 8, we have a war briefing on week 2 of Operation Swords of Iron with JNS CEO Alex Traiman in conversation with JNS Military correspondent and analyst Yaakov Lappin. At 9, Dan Almagor is on L'chaim. At 10:30, a replay of Danny Ayalon and Micah Halpern. And coming up next, I speak with Koret Distinguished Fellow at Shalem College and one of Israel's most prolific writers and intellectuals, Daniel Gordis, who talks about the pogrom committed by terror group Hamas on October the 7th and why he says Israel will never be the same. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, October the 19th, 2023. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.